Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a very special Armenian dish called rice pilaf. In my household, this dish is called seal the deal pilaf because when I made it for my husband, he got down on one knee and proposed. I promise you, there's nothing like the smell of food in the household when your hubby comes home from work. So let me show you how we do it. First, we start off by using butter or margarine. I particularly like Smart Balance because it's very low in trans fats and also is made from olive oil and canola oil. So you still get a special taste without all that grease. So you want to start off the heat on about medium. And what we're going to be doing is melting this butter. And again, you can use butter, but I tend to prefer using the Smart Balance because it just doesn't seem as heavy. Now, some of you may or may not be aware of this product. It's called vermicelli. It's just like angel hair pasta, but it's actually a little bit thinner and finer. And what we do is we take the vermicelli and we're going to be breaking it up, maybe about that length. So it's going to be browned and it gives it this really nutty flavor. I tend to like making them a little bit darker and it gets them really chewy. And this is going to be mixed in with the rice and it has a beautiful color and texture. This is actually what makes this Middle Eastern dish different than Spanish rice and Asian rice and white rice, because of these brown vermicellis. That's a typical traditional ingredient in a lot of Mediterranean and Armenian type rice dishes. So as you're browning this, it's going to take a couple of minutes, and again, you want to get the pan nice and hot. One of the key little tips that makes this rice so special is that when we're going to be adding the rice, we're actually going to be coating it with this mixture of the browned butter and margarine. When you're looking at your rices of what to use, the basic converted rice, Uncle Ben's, works best. It doesn't have to be anything fancy because this will get really nice and light and not so gooey and mushy like some of the rices do. The trick to making this very special dish is that when we add the rice, we're actually going to coat the rice in all of that melted butter to get all that flavor in each little granule. Each one of them are going to be mouth-watering. My mouth is already watering right now. So do you see how it's getting that nice bubble going with the margarine and the Smart Balance? Again, we want to get these nice and golden brown. Another trick that my mother always used to teach me, and also my grandmother, is that a 1-to-2 ratio makes the perfect rice. You know how rice sometimes is a little bit gooey and sticky, or it's not cooked thoroughly enough? So 2 cups of liquid for 1 cup of rice is going to make the perfect combination for a light, fluffy dish. Okay, that is coming along. So let's go ahead and get our rice ready to throw in there. Again, you always want to have everything set up because a lot of this dish is you got to act right when it's ready to go. So take your measuring cup, and sometimes I make extra, so sometimes I'll make 1.5 cups of rice so that the next day I'll throw some broccoli with it and have it for lunch. This dish is so delicious and makes great leftovers. I'll throw it in the microwave with frozen veggies and you're good to go. So it's a great dish to also take to work the next day or have it with dinner the next night. My husband could probably eat it every night. Trust me, when he gets home tonight, he's going to be so thrilled that this is on the stove. Now for this dish, I don't use water. It just tends to be a little boring and blah. What makes this dish extra special is that we use chicken broth. It's going to add a little bit of sodium, it's going to add some flavor and make it really lively and a nice golden color. I tend to use free-range or organic chicken broth. If you're on a sodium-restricted diet, you can go ahead and use a low-sodium chicken broth, but the better the ingredients, the better the end product. Vermicelli looks like it's coming along. Now when these start to brown, you have to keep your eye on it and add that rice really quickly because before you know it, it's going to be burned. The key to this is that it just has to be that perfect combination of golden brown but not dark. Otherwise you're going to have burnt rice and that is not sexy. All right, coming along, coming along. I think we're just about there. And remember what we said is we want to pour our rice in so we get all the rice coated with this margarine. So slowly add it in. It's going to sizzle a little bit, and each one of these little granules is special. I'm telling you, it is amazing. I sometimes serve this dish with salmon or even with beef. It goes great with chicken. It's also excellent for a vegetarian meal if you just want to have some vegetables with it or some stir-fried tofu on the side. It just adds that extra flavor instead of making a bland steamed rice. Okay, see how we're getting all these little rice granules golden coated? See how they're nice and shiny? This is the way that many women can show their men some love. There's nothing more that a man wants than dinner on the stove when he walks in, or so I'm told. I wish you guys could smell this. The butter, the house smells great. See how the rice and the vermicelli get nice and golden brown? Look how beautiful that is. It's gonna look great on the plate, and every mouthful is gonna be mouth-watering and delicious. Now this is where we have to work quick. So take a look inside. This is what you wanna do. You need to spread the rice out in the bottom of the pan, okay? You're gonna make a little hole down here at the bottom. See that? That's right where we're gonna add the chicken broth. So let's go ahead. So what did we say? 1-to-2 ratio. So we have 1 cup of rice. So how many cups of liquid? 2. And I don't water it down because you want all that flavor and you don't have to add any seasonings. What's nice too is I have a nice big measuring cup because sometimes these 1-cup measuring cups, you have to stop and take a break and pour it back and forth. So you get nice 2 cups in there, always handy in the kitchen to have a 2-cup measuring cup and even a 4-cup. Okay, you ready for the sizzle? This is the magical part. Sometimes I put my spoon down there. Wow. I'm telling you, ladies, this is what did the trick. Okay, get that all incorporated there. Okay, see how it's nice and boiling? Perfect. Stir that all together and make sure it's all incorporated. Okay, not so bad. It tastes like a really gourmet dish, but it's really not that hard to make. So now, here we go. We're gonna wait till that boils and bubbles. Takes a couple minutes. When that's really bubbling rapidly, we're gonna turn it down to simmer and put the top on. Here's another quick tip, and this can go for any kind of rice that you make. Once it's simmering and all the water is absorbed and you turn the heat off, what happens sometimes is all that water goes to the top of the lid and drips down into the rice. This can sometimes create a really mushy rice. So what we're gonna do at the end is put a paper towel underneath the lid, put the top back on, let it rest. You know, sometimes you let your meat rest after you take it out of the oven. So we're gonna let that rest a little bit, and all the evaporation is going to absorb into the paper towel, and that's gonna keep it nice and dry and al dente, as we like to say, on my Italian side of my background. And what I like to do is I start my rice, and during this process, I'll put my salmon in the oven or have my meat cooking, so everything is perfectly done in about a 30-minute time span, 30-minute meals. Sometimes it doesn't take that long. So when it's rapidly boiling like this and the bubbles are coming through, you want to turn the heat down to simmer, just on low, and put the top on really tightly and make sure it's nice and secure. One thing you also want to keep in mind is to have a really big pot going. Sometimes I'll try to cheat a little bit and I'll take a small pot out, and a lot of times you'll add your fluid and it's boiling and it overflows. So it's good to invest in a nice sized stock pot that you can use for a variety of dishes. This one I use whether I'm making 4 cups of rice or even 2 cups of rice, just to have ample area for the rice to absorb all of the fluid. That was going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. And again, remember, have a handy paper towel ready. We're going to put that on top, put the lid back on top, and it's going to make the perfect rice every time. Now the top is going to be hot, but let's see where we're at as far as the water absorption. So what you want to do is stick your spoon down the middle and spread the rice apart, and you can see there's still some water down at the bottom there. We're almost there. It's halfway done. I just cannot wait. Okay, I think it's ready. So we're gonna lift the top, grab your spoon, and look at that. Perfect. All the water is absorbed. So remember I said we need to grab the paper towel. So you want to cover the top of the pot with the paper towel and make sure it's completely covered. The top is hot, so be careful. And put the lid on securely. Turn off the heat. And now we're good. Now this is when all the magic happens. The water is absorbed, all the evaporation is gonna get absorbed in the paper towel, and it's gonna make the rice perfect. Not too mushy and not too dry. Okay, look at that piping hot rice. Now you see how all the vermicelli is up at the top? So you wanna slightly toss that. If you stir it too much, you're gonna break up the rice. So just gently toss it, be very gentle. And now the taste. So again, it's a great complement to any main dish, salmon, beef, chicken. It really goes with everything. Perfect. Nice and chewy. The chicken broth adds a lot of great flavor. And that vermicelli kind of has a nutty bite. Fabulous. My husband will be so happy. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen. You have to make this dish for your family. They are going to love it. I'm Lisa Fazio, and I will see you next time.